Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. So good to see all of you here on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. We are here. We are live. The Jaybefaunt channel is available on all major podcast platforms. So go ahead, subscribe to me there. Also part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network. So you can also find me on there on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And yes, I will be on later this evening. If you have not already, you guys can actually go to my Substack to get email notifications at jaybefaunt.substack.com. So you are aware of whenever I go live or upload clips, and just to keep you posted on whatever's going on my channel. So thank you so very much to those of you who have already subscribed, and thank you to all those who will be subscribing as well. Now, just to give you guys a update about what's going on. I was supposed to be speaking with Claudia de la Cruz of the Party of Socialism and Liberation. She is the presidential candidate. Unfortunately, they canceled. So hopefully in the future, we can get this interview going. And hopefully we can actually correspond and I can ask the questions for her candidacy in the near future. So, here's to hoping. Also, by the way, just to let you guys know, and I will be bringing up stuff on the end of the stream, but this Saturday at 9:45, if you are in Orlando or Central Florida, and if you would like to help out in helping out our neighbors in mutual aid, we will be giving away care packages as well at Lake Eola at the corner of East Robinson and North Eola Drive at 9:45 a.m. this Saturday, September 23rd. If you are available, then please join us to give these mutual aid care packages away to our homeless neighbors. We will also be going to other parts of Orlando as well, just to make sure we have about 100 packages, care packages that we'll be giving out. This is what we could afford. This is what we could budget for. And that's what we're going to be doing. And these care packages consist of things like socks, toothbrush, toothpaste, razors, hand sanitizer. What else? We'll also be doing some notices for a ballot initiative so that we can actually make abortion a healthcare right within this state. So we'll also be doing some of that as well, trying to give notice to people of that as well too. So if you guys have not, then if you guys would like to join, then this is your chance if you have not got to meet us for the meet and greet back in August. So if you guys would like to, you guys can join for that. Now, before I get into my story for today, I would like to get into and say hello to all the people in the chat. As you guys know, I like to get into the chat, say hello to my peeps as well. So let me get into that. All right. So here starting off, we have Miguel coming in saying peace. Good to see you, Miguel. Nice to have you as well. Hobo Rody's in saying privatized public housing. Contractors will be required to maximize human storage for profit. FEMA houses look pretty damn scary down the road from here, but I reckon that they can make more. Interesting, Hobo Rody. Thank you so very much. CBC voter is also in the chat saying happy Thursday at JB. So good to see you, CBC voter. Hobo Rody says Imelda Fire was a model for the Maui gentrification. They shut off the hydrants for the poor, freeing up our firemen to go north and hold the line at the country club and save the heavily insured. Wow. Says over 1,000 mobile homes suddenly clear from the tax rolls. The new McMansions are a stunning change. Wow. Yeah. A lot of times they take away those housing because they actually just want that land for themselves. We got to keep our eyes out, man. All right. Serena, good to see you, says, greetings, comrades. I'm behind AF on news. Blank to learn Unreal Engine 5, and we have a missing aircraft. Poland pulling support for Ukraine and more. Yeah, I just got wind of Seymour Hersh had just put out a new article basically saying that the war in Ukraine is over. The proxy war is technically over, but the United States doesn't want us to know that. So I'm gonna try to look into that to see if I can cover some of that within the next week or so. But yeah, that's pretty crazy news. So good to see you. We have Jacqueline coming in saying, I was going to do some reading, but then I found out you were going out live. Change of plan. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Nice to have you as well. Good to see you in the chat. So good to have you. All right. Sweaty Fairy says, anyone got a teleporter? Good to see you, Sweaty Fairy. All right. Luz Theron Telemon says, morning, JB. It's morning where you are? Good. Nice to see you. Good morning to where you are. Wardy coming in and saying, hey, everybody. Good to see Wardy. All right. So, anybody that's watching on The Rock, good to see you as well. So, I am going to be discussing a little bit news that I saw that I was going to cover this after the Gloria Rivera interview because this was important. And as somebody that tries to give good or positive news to our neighbors, I found this to be very important to bring out. So I just wanted to go over this really quick. So this is California residents housing voucher alert. This is going to be a time sensitive. So once this news is over, I will probably be putting this on at least this part of the stream on, unlisted or private, because this is time sensitive. But this is an alert that I think if you or anybody that is housing insecure in California, then I think this is really important news. And also I'm going to be talking about housing in general as well, because I think this is a very important topic that we need to home in on as much as possible. Because in this country, there are too many people that are housing insecure. And housing insecurity that we feel is a violence that's committed against us as people. So this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. So first of all, one of the things that I wanted to do is that I wanted to share my screen really quick, because this was an article that I found that is deeply important to get out to anybody who's living out in California. Shout out to anybody and everybody that lives in Cali. So I just wanted to make sure that JB got you. So it says Orange County. So I live in Orange County, Florida. So when I saw this, I thought this was for Orange County, Florida residents, but it's actually for Orange County, California. Either way, it's good news for people. It says Orange County Housing Voucher Program opens wait list for first time in more than a decade. A decade. First of all, let's just stop there. The fact that housing voucher programs and programs like Section 8 have these long waiting lists and sometimes have to stop with their programs because people need these programs so desperately that they have to stop because, well, they just don't have enough money, or sometimes sometimes they can crash the websites. This goes to show just how dire of a situation that we are in this country. The fact that many people have been waiting for things like this, and it's been over a decade, 10 years, just to be able to get housing vouchers. So this is one of the reasons why I'm showing this on a stream, because yes, I shared this on Twitter. I shared this on my Facebook a couple days ago, right? But in order to get this out to as many people as possible, I got to do what I got to do, because the thing is that there's so many people hurting. We know people that are in like Skid Row that are housing insecure, that have the amount of people that have been on Skid Row have has increased over the last year or so. And some of these people could use something like this, right? And if people in your area, if you know of anything news like this, then also advertise this as well, so that people in your area can also be aware of this, because this is also very important. So 10 years, this is pretty big. So in more than a decade. So this came out on the 18th. And so it says, for the first time in 12 years, Orange County Housing Authority will be opening a wait list for its housing voucher program, accepting applications from September 18th to September 29th. It's the 21st now. You guys have 8 days. I'm going to repeat myself. 8 days from now on the 21st of September at 1:11 p.m. You guys have 8 days to do this. The link to it is also in the description. So either start filling this out while I'm speaking or after the stream. And I will also be putting the clip to this as soon as possible so that nobody has to wait for this. All right. So make sure that you start this application program and send this application link to other people as well who are waiting. And I will put the application also in the chat as well so that you guys have access to that to send to people who you know in California that's housing insecure. All right. So this is very important. It says the federally supported program assists very low income families, the elderly, and people with disabilities like myself in affording housing by covering parts of the rent. So this is why this is important, because we all know that rents are sky high, right? Rents are going up way too much. And people like myself, this is one of the reasons why I was so interested in it, because I actually need this myself, but I don't live in California. I live in Orange County, Florida. So I'm looking out for something like this in my state. But if I can at least use my big mouth to help people, then that's why that I'm doing this. So make sure that you give this to other people. It says the Housing Choice Voucher Program waiting list will be adding thousands of new eligible households until it reaches 12,000 applicants. Application preference will be given to those living or working in OCHA's jurisdiction, which includes all cities in unincorporated areas of Orange County, except for the cities of Anaheim, Garden Grove, and Santa Ana, which will operate their own housing voucher programs. So it says, when I got to the board in 2021, there were about 40,000 people on the wait list. That's the 5th District Supervisor, Katrina Foley. It says, it was people who were no longer with us for one reason or another. Maybe they had died, or they had moved, or they didn't need housing anymore, or they already taken care of their needs. So the wait list just became this artificial number of people. After clearing up the list for those who are still eligible, Foley said 83 people remain as of last week. Says the timing when applicants are submitted for the wait list during the upcoming window will not affect one's position. Preference will also go to applicants in this order: veterans, the elderly, people with disabilities, and families. Once applications are grouped into these categories, a lottery will be held within each category until 12,000 applicants are placed on the wait list. Income limits for eligibility depend on the number of people in a household. For example, $50,250 for an individual. So if you make $50,000 per year or less, you're eligible as an individual. $71,750 for 4 people and $94,750 for 8 people. Right? So that's basically how much you have to make, to be able to be eligible, that or under. The county receives funding for 750 vouchers annually, says United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, awarded nearly $1.7 million to the county for its Housing Choice Voucher Program to support 75 additional vouchers. The random selection will take place on October 17th. After that time, applicants can check their status by logging into waitlistcheck.com. Notifications will be sent to applicants 2 to 3 months after all 12,000 applicants have been reviewed. The rental assistance is usable anywhere where a landlord is willing to accept the voucher. So this is also very important. Now, you guys know how I feel about landlords. They're basically parasites in modern times. But here's the thing. If a landlord is able to accept a voucher, is willing to accept a voucher, then that's where you're going to be able to go. Beggars can't be choosers, unfortunately. And I'd rather you have some housing than no housing. But that's the way it goes. So this is also an important thing. So keep an eye for that as well. So I'll be reading this entire I'll be reading this entire article because this is how important it is. So, quote, people are really struggling with the cost of living right now, especially people who are working in our hospitality and service industries. It is so important that we were able to keep them housed and not having people fall out of housing. We don't want to leave them out in the cold. We obviously don't have enough vouchers for everyone, but for those who are the most in need, we're going to make sure to take care of them. So this is basically a triage situation. If you ever go to a hospital and you go to triage, what does triage mean? It means those who are in the worst health conditions get care first, right? So it's basically the saying those who are the most disenfranchised, the most vulnerable are going to get the care first. So if you're somebody that's able-bodied, but either housing insecure or unhoused, unfortunately, you're going to be one of the last people on the line. Still apply because you still just might make it. But just letting you know, the people who are the most vulnerable are going to be put to the front of the line. So just letting you know. Okay. So, and I think a lot of people are, able and willing to accept and understand that. So keep that in mind. Now, continuing on, applications can be submitted beginning at 8 a.m. on September 18th and ending at 11:59 p.m. on September 29th in one of three ways. Online at waitlistcheck.com/CA1288, mailed at P.O. Box 1137, 11387, Santa Ana, California 92711, or via email to ocha.waitinglist2023@occr.ocgov.com. Paper applications are available at participating city halls, branches of the Orange County Public Library, and other community organizations. Several county supervisors are hosting assistance events for those who need extra help filling out applications. First District Supervisor Andrew Doe is hosting an event on September 18th at Miles Square Park, so this is already passed. Fourth District Supervisor Doug Chafe is hosting an event at 1 to 3 p.m. September 23rd, 21st, which is today, at OC Workforce Solutions at 675 Placentia Avenue, interesting word, Placentia Avenue, Suite 330 in Brea. So this is from 1 to 3 p.m. So that's Pacific. So in less than 2 hours, then if you're out in California and you want help with filling out a paper application, then make sure to go to this location. Foley's team will be assisting with applications from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. on the 28th at the Laguna Niguel One Stop at 2802 Cabot Road, Suite 140. It says individuals with disabilities who require accommodation to participate in the application process may also contact Orange County Housing Authority at 714-480-2798 during normal weekday business hours. So just to let you guys know, that's what this is about. So I just wanted you guys to have this so that you guys are able to use this and spread this around to your neighbors who live out in California, because people are suffering, people are hurting, and I want to at least do what I can to help you guys out. So this is the waitlistcheck.com. And so this is the application, right? So it says waiting list is open for housing voucher programs, Section 8, beginning September 18th, 2023 at 8 a.m. Pacific time, ending in September 29th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. It says the Housing Choice Voucher Program provides rental assistance to low-income people afford decent and safe rental housing. HCV is funded by the Department of Housing and Urban Development and administered by Public Housing, authorized under federal, state, or law to operate housing programs within an area or jurisdiction. So just let you guys know, this is what it is. And this is the family size. So this is how much you'll be able to do. So income limits, if you have a family size, if you're just one person, income limits, you have to make at the most $50,000 to $50,250. If you're a family size of two, $57,400. Family size of three, $64,600. That's the most you can make. A family size of four is $71,750, and then it goes up to 8 plus. Family size of 8 plus. So just letting you guys know. And this gives the preference list as well. And it gives, for those of you who apply. And then you have a get started here. So here is the link. I'm putting it in the chat so you guys can have this. This is very important because not many people are available for Section 8 or able to get Section 8 because it just doesn't happen. And so this is after 10 years. So make sure to share this right now. All right. To people who are even if you don't know anybody, just share it in your social media anyway, because somebody may just see it. Right. And they may be able to apply for this. So make sure to do this as well. All right. Because this is very important. Let me make sure to share this in the Rock as well. So just in case anybody don't in there, as well as let me share in the Rumble. And one of the things that I want to say is that the fact that these things take this long, it really makes me upset. It makes me mad because people should not have to go through this. Housing is, in my view, a human right. And so for people who are not housing secure, this type of thing, these things only come up like once in a great while, And so that's the thing. So let me take this down really quick. And so when you look at what's going on in the United States and you see how housing is affecting, how housing has been affected on a wide scale, you get to a point where you start to wonder, where are the guillotines? When are they coming? Because there's so many people like myself that are housing insecure. And we're getting to a point where we have no other recourse. What are we going to do? Roger Meadows, thank you so much for the super chat. It says 17 minutes late and 10 words. What happened in California? Section 8 is open after 10 years, and there are only 12,000 positions open. And they started accepting applications on the 18th, and it's going until the 29th. And I just shared in the chat the application for people who are housing insecure or people who are low income in California and Orange County to apply so that they can have housing. So that's what's going on right now. And so I'm sharing this right now and I'm doing a stream. This is a time sensitive stream so that people in California can actually get this program so they can be eligible for this program. So this is a program that is time sensitive. It is also, they're giving heavy preference to people who are elderly, disabled, veterans, and the like. So that's what's going on right now. So this is essentially Section 8 housing. So the people who have been waiting for this to open for 10 years, this is your chance. I'm just letting you guys know. So thanks for asking the question, Roger. Yes, this is also, this is very good news. Very good news. And this is one of the reasons why I wish, this is why I was going to do this news after speaking to Claudia de la Cruz, because I would have an influx of people watching and I can disseminate this information out to as many people as possible. And I was going to use that numbers of people to give this good news so that people can apply and actually get this. That's why I had this, but unfortunately they canceled. So, but I'm still going to do this news anyway because it's that necessary. I wish this was for me so that I can apply, because I actually need to apply, but at least I can use my big mouth to help people. So one of the things that I wanted to also talk about in line with this was that this is why we need programs like this. And I'm so glad that Roger Meadows is in the chat as well, because I'm going to share this. And Roger, you really help a brother out with this. So I just got to give you a shout out and give you your flowers and say thank you. But I'm going to share this with everybody because I've shared this before many times, but this is actually more of a quick access. And I'm going to be sharing, let me see. Oh, can I show this? Yes, perfect. So I'm going to share this because this is California right now. So this is from the Out of Reach. This is basically from what Roger Meadows shared with me. So thank you so very much. So it says in actually, let me see if I can enlarge. Can I enlarge this? Yes, I can zoom in. Okay. So it says in California, the fair market rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is $2,197. In order to afford this level of rent and utilities without paying more than 30% of income on housing, a household must earn $7,323 monthly or $87,877 annually. Assuming a 40-hour work week, 52 weeks per year, this level of income translates to an hourly housing wage of $42.25 per hour. That's state housing wage. Meaning because in California, minimum wage. Oh, how can I take this thing down? Because that's in the way. The hell with it. It says you have to work 109 work hours per week at minimum wage to afford a 2-bedroom. So you have to work 109 hours in California while being paid $15.50 per hour. Now, for a 1-bedroom, you have to work 88 hours a week. For a 1-bedroom, 88 hours a week. You need 2.7 full-time jobs at minimum wage, or 2.2 full-time jobs at minimum wage to do a 1-bedroom. And this has the breakdown. Oh, man, I wish I can. Hang on. Okay. So it says most expensive areas, Santa Cruz, Watsonville, right? So you need to make $63.33 an hour. San Francisco, you have to make $61.31. San Jose, $56.56. Salinas and $51.44, and Santa Barbara at $51.29. So this is one of the reasons why housing insecurity is so high, because the rent is too damn high in places like California. This is ridiculous. And so when you have something like Section 8 opening up after 10 years in California, 10 years. Any reason why you don't think that those spots are going to get filled up quickly? Why in the hell do you think I'm advertising this right now on my channel just so that people can get to it quickly? Because I actually want people to not be housing insecure. Shout out to Rare Reality Revolution. Oh my God, you are a member for 11 months. Holy crap. Clap it up for Reality Revolution. Thank you so much. People who lost their homes to fire are offered Section 8 crumbs. Yes. And here's the thing. I think that that's that's crumbs. But my thing is like, I just want people to know that they can actually have this available so that they can have some type of relief. But my thing is like, the fact is that this is sad that after 10 years, it opens back up. So many people need housing security. And the fact is that I honestly think that the criteria actually should be larger. Because $50,000 a year is nothing in California. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because look, let me show you. $50,000 a year in California, that's what, $22 to $25 an hour? You have to make $42 an hour per hour in order to have housing. That means you need to make over $20 an hour more. So yeah, people are suffering. Right? I can go to Florida. In fact, I will. Let me go to Florida because where I live, because that's also very important. I live in Florida. And even still, in Central Florida, it's still ridiculous. $30.59 an hour. We're not even at $15 an hour yet. We're not even at half that. Right? You have to work 111 hours at minimum wage, which is $11 an hour now, in order to afford a 2-bedroom. You have to work 92 hours a week in order to afford a 1-bedroom. The most expensive areas in Florida are Monroe County, Miami Beach, Kendall, West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, and Naples, Immokalee, Marcos Islands. So these are some of the most expensive areas in Florida. These are where the rich people live. That's how bad it is here in Florida. And one of the reasons why Florida is so bad, and it's number 11 on the list, is because we have a huge, massive influx of people that are moving to Florida. Why are people moving to Florida? Well, we don't have a state income tax. So you got a lot of people, especially a lot of more wealthy, well-to-do people that are moving from up north in places like Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. We have people moving from Michigan, Illinois. They're moving down here because no state income taxes, and technically it's cheaper. But if you think about it in ratio, the income inequality is technically worse here than it is in those other places. So yes, you may be able to rent, instead of paying $2,000 for a 1-bedroom there, you can pay $2,000 for a 2 or 3-bedroom here. Yes, but your wages are going to go down as soon as you move down here too. Unless you can work remotely without ever having to come to the office, and you can still make what you made up there and come down here. That's the only thing that you can do. And we are getting gentrified out the ass here. Just to let you guys know, I live in an area called Millennia. Doesn't sound as nice as you think. And in Millennia, they built a mall a few years back. It's called the Millennium Mall, the mall at Millennia. And this area is nice. Big, huge mall. They got Bloomingdale's and Tiffany's and Jimmy Choo and Versace, right? There's a Mercedes-Benz right across the street from the mall. You have an Aston Martin. They have the Audi dealership. I mean, it is, right? There's a Bentley dealership not too far from me. All that, right? You got Bentleys, $200,000 or $200,000 is probably the cheapest asking price, MSRP for a Bentley out there, right? You have Aston Martin. You have all these dealerships. Not too far from me, right? But guess what? In my area, it is lower. It's lower middle class to poor. Lower middle class to poor. That's this area. And a lot of the people that work in this area, we work in Millennia. And some of us work in places like International Drive. International Drive is basically where all the tourists in Orlando go. So you have, it used to be the Peabody Hotel. It's no longer the Peabody Hotel. I don't know what the hell it's called anymore. But you have hotels like that. You have, not too far from there, you have the Ritz-Carlton, JW Marriott. So you have a lot of people that work there. You have the Rosen hotels. They work out in those hotels out there. It's also where you have Universal Orlando. You have SeaWorld. Go further out, you go to Lake Buena Vista, and you have Disney World, right? You have the Marriott International. You have all these big, huge hotels out there. You have the Orange County Convention Center that hosts conventions every single year. Here, this is an entertainment capital. And so a lot of poor people live in my area. The people who work at the bottom are living in those areas. And we literally are getting gentrified out of our own neighborhoods here. And so when people talk about, well, things are doing okay, it's not okay for most of us. When you got people like Paul Krugman going on CNN talking to Christian Amanpour saying, well, things are actually okay. People are behaving like it's okay. They're just saying it's not. It's because they're not actually talking to us. And go back to the live stream that when I was talking about, actually, I think it's I think the clip premieres tomorrow, where I was speaking to my guest on there, Larry Sharp. And Larry Sharp was talking about how you literally have to buy in to pay for these polls. And it's all based on money. So these polls are not calling people like me. They're not calling people like you to find out that people are really hurting. They don't care about your voice. They're calling the rich folks, and the rich folks and the affluent folks are going, yeah, everything's good. Everything's okay. How much you making? Oh, I make about $250,000 a year. My house is worth $5.3 million. And they're fine. They're okay. And they're the ones who are actually speaking for us on the polls. When in reality, our voice isn't being heard. And we're literally speaking. Go to TikTok. And tell you, people are going on their phones and giving testimonials of how rough they're having it. They are in pain out there. And then you got idiots like Tim Gurner saying, you need to have more pain in the economy because they're arrogant and they're asking for more. Well, of course we're asking for more because we're hurting. If somebody's in pain and they're giving you the morphine to dull that pain, they're going to be like, nah, push it in because we're sick and tired of hurting. Now, I'm going to share something because this is important too. Because we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Is this it? No. So this was a gentleman that was at a city council meeting, and he gives a speech. And I meant to share this a week ago, but I forgot. My apologies. But I want you guys to see this, And this has to do with also with housing too. So let's go.
With Working Class and Houses Organizing Alliance. As has been already stated, the ACLU has made another statement threatening to sue the city because of their anti-houseless policies. This happened, was it 5 years ago? And y'all backed down on your aggressive solicitation ordinance, but we can see that it's not going to fix anything because directly after that, they've littered the entire city with anti-houseless signs. They have removed every seat from the parks. Nancy Vaughn was quoted suggesting more aggressive sprinklers, I think, to shoo houseless people off like animals. Now we're seeing signs that basically say that if you smoke, you'll be arrested. And if you feed people, that eventually, after a couple warnings, you will be arrested. So clearly, suing people isn't going to work. I mean, because even if the ACLU does sue you, like you don't back off on this one thing, which you probably will, you're just going to pay your lawyers with our tax dollars. We still pay for it. So I'm going to say this again. Why is this happening? Why can't our city do something? It's very clear that the houseless population is growing because of an economic situation. I think we can all agree. It isn't drugs. It isn't laziness. It isn't lack of jobs, right? It's that this economic situation generates poverty. And why are they, instead of, taking our tax dollars and making sure that there's a future, because for us and for them, because eventually when there's an army of houseless people, who do you think we're going to come after? Have y'all figured that out yet? Right? Why haven't they? It's because they can't see past that. It's because the rich don't want to see the poverty they create. It's unsightly. Poverty is unsightly, and the poorest of us are the most unsightly. That's all it is. They want to imagine, dissociate from the poverty they create. And I'd say at a very bare minimum, that the rich should be forced to be faced with the poverty they create, at the bare minimum. So I don't think suing is the solution. I don't think polite conversation solution. I don't think this speech is a solution. What do I think solution? Well, I'm going to explain this. I'm going to do it with a metaphor, right? Because I don't want to get arrested directly after this. If I'm being attacked by somebody with a big stick, right? And I tell them, don't hit me, and they hit me. What do I do then? Well, I could more aggressively tell them, don't hit me, right? And they strike me again. What am I going to do? Do I keep letting them hit me? Do I pray? Do I beg, please stop hitting me? No, I think what you do is you snatch that stick from them. Just so you know how serious I am. Snatch that stick from them and hit them back. When they try to get up and take a ring, hit them again. And I tell you, that is my suggestion. And then we build a world where housing is free, water is free, and clothing is free. And then we're safe. Thank you.
That's how I feel. Take that stick away from them. These corporate dictators have been beating us over and over again. And every single time. And their goal is to keep us sick enough and poor enough so that we do whatever the hell they want, instead of actually living and thriving. They want us barely able to survive. And then they lobby the governments and they'll tell us, well, you guys just aren't working hard enough. And then they make sure that they buy up the government. And then once they have their hands on the government, guess what? You only get Section 8 after 5 or 10 years. So even then, that's still wholly inadequate. They'll make it so that if you're on disability, you don't get hardly anything. The VA is severely underfunded. Trust me, I talked to a VA doctor. Severely underfunded. Support our troops until they come home with an injury. What the hell is that? Our elderly, they don't care about them. Talk to people who are elderly right now. Talk to them. Ask them how much is their Social Security check. These are the people that are actually running shit. And then when they put us into a position of homelessness. Then they do all this anti-homelessness infrastructure. They'll make it so that you can't sleep nowhere. You can't get shelter nowhere. And even if you get a shelter, even if these shelters have these arbitrary rules, you have to be in by this time. You can't do this. You can't do that. Some of them are super religious. Or if you want to be in our shelter, you have to conform to this religion. You have to pray this way. You have to worship this way. You can't you can't sleep on our beds if you don't obey this religion. And so instead of actually helping people, instead of actually making sure that people, especially the most vulnerable among us, are okay, it's do all this and then work for us or die. Or die. That's basically what it is. It is sick. It is twisted. It is inhumane how they do us. It is not your fault that you are in this position. It's not your fault that you have to apply for this type of assistance. It is not your fault that you need this type of assistance. It is not your fault that you have to. It is not your fault that you have to apply for food stamps. It's not your fault. I'm going to say this to the mountaintop. It is not your fault. It is not your fault that you are in student debt. It's not. It's not your fault that some of y'all in the hood got to stand on the street corner and sell drugs. It's not your fault. I'm going to be real. People are like, oh, well, they made that choice. Who pushed them into that choice? Who pushed them? Who put them there? It's not their fault. It's under duress. That's what it is. People are under duress. They're being coerced. They're being pressured. They're at their wits' end. It's not even their fault that they have to go into a store and steal just to survive. And I don't care if they stole a pair of Christian Louboutins. I don't care. I don't care. Because they're the ones that are taking it to the pawn shop to get some money off of it so that they can survive. I don't care. It does not make any sense that anyone in this country should be struggling like this to survive. It's like I said, if you are in a mansion, most of us are in the basement, hot, sweaty, without barely any food. So what good is living in a mansion if you're cramped up in the basement? People say, oh, you live in a mansion. So fucking what? We still live in the basement. Everybody else, well, the small number of people are living in the top floors, living it up, keeping us down here. Is that any dignity in our existence? Absolutely not. Revolution is coming, and they are making it very easy for people to be on the side of revolution. What did JFK say? He said, those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. This is why independent media has been sounding the alarm. This is why they're building Cop City. Because they know people are getting tired. This is why they're building it. Because they know that once you get to your wits' end, then they put you in prison and now you become a chattel slave once again. Peep game. This is what they're about. I have another clip that I'm going to share with you because it's getting worse and worse and worse. And then I have an article to share with you as well to back this up. More upper middle class people are now starting to suffer. That's right. You heard me. upper middle class people are now starting to feel it too. Let's go. I love this lady. She's based.
Watch this video and I'll be right back.
But I'm finding myself in a position now where we're making more money than we've ever made, and we are literally the brokest we've ever been. Brokest we've ever been.
But I'm making the most money I ever had my entire life. My husband and I, between the two of us, gross, make like over $80,000 a year. And if you told me a few years ago that $80,000 a year was not going to be enough for a family of four.
I make more than what I made back in 2015. But I am still literally living paycheck to paycheck.
I have to work 60 hours a week and make $80,000 a year to make ends meet. That's insane. I can't even begin to wrap my head around it.
Financially, I don't understand anymore. I don't understand how I make $34 an hour and I can't function. I can't function. I can't pay my bills.
There's nothing in my life that I can look forward to long term. Like, I can find things that excite me or make me happy or that I'm thankful for.
It was always a class war. Black people have been trying to tell you guys this shit since the 1600s. The elites, they exploited us. And they're still exploiting us. The reason why you make more money but are the brokest is because there's no cap on rent. Every time they raise the minimum wage, they raise the rent. The reason why you can't afford groceries is because they raise the prices on the groceries, even though it costs them the same to make the same product. Companies are getting 200, 300 plus percentage in profits, and no one is stopping them. They price gouge. It has always been a class war. They distracted us with race. It has always been the elites. And now the spirit of greed that fucking consumes them is killing us all. And until we all wake up and start fighting back and demanding for change, demanding these politicians to do something, it's gonna get worse. The ants have to finally realize they have more power than the grasshoppers. It has always been a class war. Like I've said in my previous videos, there's a little over 2,600 billionaires and millionaires, and they hoard $13 trillion worth of wealth. It's time to wake up, or this will continue. Start holding these politicians' feet to the fire. it has always been about money.
That's what it's about. And so there's a lot of people right now that are even becoming more affluent. They're actually suffering too. They're feeling it now too. They're living paycheck to paycheck. This is out of fortune. Out of fortune. More than half of Americans raking in $100,000 a year or more are living paycheck to paycheck. Can you believe this? This came out in January. It says the number of Americans living paycheck to paycheck is almost reached the high levels seen during the onset of COVID-19 pandemic, during the days of lockdowns, business closing, and mass panic. About 64.4% or 166 million of U.S. adults reported having no money left over at the end of the month in December of 2022, just shy of the 65.7% who reported living paycheck to paycheck in March of 2020, according to the latest edition of Payments New Reality Check, the Paycheck to Paycheck Report. So this is the graph of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Says that's also about 9.3 million more who ended 2021 living paycheck to paycheck. But this time, high-income Americans are not immune. Approximately 8 million of those newly scraping by Americans are from higher income brackets. About 50.8% of those earning over $100,000 reported living paycheck to paycheck in December. The number of high-income Americans living paycheck to paycheck last December was up 9 percentage points from the 42% who reported similar struggles in December of 2021. In contrast, the share of middle and lower income Americans who reported living paycheck to paycheck remained relatively stable over the last year. It says, here's the why. It says, but why are higher income Americans struggling more now? Persistent high inflation is certainly part of the equation, but a looming recession, high interest rates, volatile financial markets, and white-collar layoffs are also hitting higher income earners. Remember when we talked about how Facebook, Twitter, Google, all these tech giants suddenly just dropped a lot of their workers off? They laid off a ton of workers. These were high income earners. They said, you know what? Don't need you. We have AI now. Bye. Look, this class war isn't just for those of us who are lower class, middle class. No, the higher wage earners, the laborers who earn a higher amounts of money, they're also being shafted in this too. This is why even the PMCs are now going to have to wake up and realize, oh snap, me as a engineer, I'm going to have to team up with that person that's a custodian or a person that's a worker at Burger King or a Starbucks worker. I'm going to have to team up with these people because they're coming after all of us. And even some people, and some of y'all are going to get mad at me, but some of y'all are going to have to realize that your problem doesn't start with the trans woman that works the makeup counter at Macy's. The trans woman that works the makeup counter at Macy's is your fellow soldier in this class war. So you thinking somehow that they're dangerous to children is really just a ploy by the rich and wealthy to keep you divided against them. You thinking that person wearing a hijab that's working at the register is your enemy is one way that these people at the top are keeping us divided. You thinking that black people are 13% of the population but cause 50% of the crime, you're doing the work of the billionaires. You're doing the work of the corporate dictators. You people thinking, oh my God, these people are groomers. That's their narrative. That's the narrative of the people who are at the top. You're being used by them. You become their lapdog. And they ain't even giving you nothing for it. So stop with the whole demonizing people who have no power. Stop demonizing them. Because guess what? You're doing the work of the billionaires. You're sitting there thinking that, oh, well, trans people, it's a trans industry. It's a conspiracy to mutilate people. No. They've existed for thousands of years. You keeping that mindset is actually doing the work of the billionaires. You're doing the work of the corporate dictators. This is why you got to let that shit go. It's not your fellow people who are down here that you're enemy. And some of y'all actually will not say this to me, to my face, but you actually thinking this deep in your mind and your heart. You got to let that go because we are not your enemy. I, as a gay man, I'm not your enemy. The disabled people are not your enemy. The neurodivergent people are not your enemy. Some of you men who demonize women, and some of y'all may not say it out loud, but you do in your minds and hearts, women are not your enemy. Get out of that mindset. And realize that they not only use class, but they also use other immutable characteristics and other characteristics like religion and immigration status to keep us divided. So this is the point. This is why they also use class and they mix it with race. They mix it with gender. They mix it with social status, all these different things in order to keep a hierarchy. We have to throw these discriminatory mindsets away in order to unite. The people without power who you think something nefarious about, they are your fellow workers. And just because you're white and not part of these disenfranchised groups, you think they look at you any better? You're trash to them. You're trash. You're garbage to them. You're refuse. They don't care about you either. You better find out and get together with us. Let these bigoted thoughts go. Let them go. Unite with us. Because this is what is happening. Including PMCs. Don't think just because you spent years at college, you got your master's or your doctorate or your JD and think, oh, well, I'm good. I'm fine. No, you're not. You are not. You need to unite with us. Because guess what? They're coming after you too. This is why it is so important for class consciousness, class solidarity. If you earn a wage and you don't own the means of production, you need to team up with us. If you don't own the business and have the employees, you need to team up with us. Even if you do, You need to realize that you need to team up with us and team up with your coworkers and your employees and start making them more better than they actually are. Guess what? If you're exploiting them, they're coming after you. It's not going to be long. This is why it's so important to pay attention. And I don't care if anybody got a problem with me talking about, anything regarding LGBTQ issues, or if anybody got a problem with me talking about, issues regarding immigration or people of different religious stances or whatever. Because the thing is that these are also workers too. These are also disenfranchised people too. And guess what? We're also brought down by class as well. So that's what's going on. And that's why I had to advertise for Section 8 in California, because it hasn't been put out in 10 years, because you got people suffering day in and day out. And they literally had to wait. 5-year waiting list, 10-year waiting lists, and no longer accepting applications. I like what Serena Sawyer says, even Jesus threw hands, just saying. You're a Christian. There you go. Go into the chat really quick. Killier Grigor says, I'm holding the corporations to the fire from now on. Thank you. Carlos Pena says, USA was never great, and it's not the richest country in the world. It's the greediest country in the world. We can change that. Here's the thing. A lot of people, because a lot of times people think that we on the left are just, oh my God, I hate America. It's like, no, here's the thing. It's like going into a house that is broken down and dilapidated. You can look and see, well, this has good bones, though. We can make something of this. America can be great. We just have to fix the foundation and build it up. And it's not going to be built up by being a demagogue and scapegoating other marginalized people. It's going to be by uniting, collaborating, and cooperating with the marginalized and the most disenfranchised in order to build it to be something great. This can be a great nation. It's just you have corporate dictators that are keeping us from it. They're the ones that hold us back. They made America weak. America's so weak, we can't even provide health care for everybody. America's so weak, we cannot provide housing for everybody. America is so weak that our child poverty has doubled. America's that weak. But we can make it stronger. And it's not by relying on these corporate dictators. No, it's by relying on the workers to build it up. And by seeing the humanity in everyone, even if they're different from us. That's how you can make America strong. Serena Sawyer says, I wonder how much it would cost to play that on one of the Times Square screens in NYC. That'll be interesting. Luz says, infiltration over the past 2 years has wiped out 6 years of raises to my wife's paycheck. I'm sorry, inflation has wiped out, over the past 2 years, has wiped out 6 years of raises? What? I'm very sorry, Luz. Wow. Mizu says, there are certain words I don't feel comfortable applying to excessive greed, but think in your head what they could be. Unexpected words. Think outside the box. Thank you. All One Same says, the last 20 years have gutted Appalachia. Shout out to my people in Appalachia. Shout out to my brothers, sisters, and siblings out there. because y'all going through it too. Y'all going through it. Love and solidarity. Y'all going through it too. You know, from the hood to Appalachia, they're going through it. Hobarodi says, I aspire to scrape by at the poverty line. That would be great. So many of us are going through that, man. And I look, I hope you go way above that. I do. Reality Revolution says, why isn't that a campaign in next election? You think Bill Gates is going to be a farmer? The lords of sanctions? Sanction equals starvation. They're killing us. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, itchy eye. People are just going through it, man. Jacqueline says, well said, JB. No wonder I like this channel. Thank you so much. Sorry, I had a lot of frustration to get out. Thank you, Social Emotional Learning with Dr. Donnie. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I Am Lux says there's a nefarious trans agenda, but it's engineered by the elites to divide us just like race. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. There's not a trans agenda. See, you're doing the work of them right now. You're literally dividing the working class. Why are you doing that? Why are you dividing us in order to keep us at this level? Why are you doing that? That's exactly what you're doing. You're using your bigotry in order to keep us divided. That's what you're doing. Look, get your head out of it. That's what? I feel sorry for you. I do. Let's see. Jacqueline says a nurse did a breakdown of his salary in Freddo chocolate bars. In 2010, an hour's salary brought 108 Freddos. In 2023, his salary paid for 55. Wow. Wow. Let me check the yep. Let me go to Rockfin really quick, just to make sure I catch Rockfin. Thanks for the tips on Rockfin, Roger. Roger says, oh, he sent me a link. Said, Jay, according to this, which is an update in sorts, I live in the most expensive county in town in New York State. Okay. So I'll take a look at that in a second to show everybody. Okay, so he says, look at how much we earn to live comfortably. Look at the other states also. Scroll further down to see the entire list. All right, so, and also this and World Population Review. All right, so I'll do that. Let's continue. He says, I thought I was going to see at the end of that video. Hi, my name is Joe Biden. I'm AOC. I'm Rashida Tlaib. I'm Jamal Bowman. I'm Corey Bush. I'm Ilhan Omar. We approve this message. People, for God's sake, start worker co-ops, public banks, and for all who live where you can, place your own amendments on the ballot as initiatives to ratify your own amendments into your state constitution. Please exercise the power of the citizen ballot initiative to set this shit off. Thank you. Thank you so very much for that, Roger. That's a way to mitigate some of this pain, man. So let me share this as well. All right, so this is what Roger shared. Is it going to do it? Okay. Let me use this. The richest country in every state. I'm sorry, the richest county in every state. So it says the richest county in each U.S. state gathered in a recent geo-bankings rates study offer wide ranges of wealth, lifestyles, and surroundings. Some of the counties on our list include major cities. Some don't include any cities. Some of the counties have populations over 1 million, others just a few thousand. The counties with the highest median income in our list more than doubles the median income of any county within the lowest. Some counties are surrounded by water, others deserts and mountains. Some counties aren't even counties. We rank parishes in Louisiana. Alaska's median income champion is a designated census area. All right, so 50 is Arizona, Maricopa County. So you said New York, right? Roger? Let me see. Go to Virginia. Wow. Okay. Colorado. Okay. So New York is in Nassau County. Richest County's median household income is 126,576. Richest County's largest cities owned towns by population is Hempstead and Oyster Bay. New York. New Jersey. Let me see. Let me see Florida. Let me see. I'm curious about Florida. Don't tell me Florida's in the top 5. Oh, here it is. Okay. Florida is St. Johns County. Richest county's median household income is 88,794. Richest county's largest cities, about towns of St. Augustine. Of course, it's St. Augustine, right? Michigan is Livingston County. Let's see. Let's see. New York, Colorado, Maryland, Howard County. Richest median household income is 129,549. Richest largest cities is Columbia, which is unincorporated. California, Santa Clara. Household income 140,258. Richest largest cities, towns by population, San Jose, Sunnyvale, and Santa Clara. And in Virginia, where probably a lot of politicians live, is Loudoun. Loudoun or Lowdown? It's Loudoun, whatever it's called. It says the richest median household income is 156,821. Richest counties, largest cities by population is Leesburg. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And then there was this also that was shared. Let me see here. Income inequality by state. So this is from World Population Review. DC. Oh my gosh, DC is 53%. New York is 51%. Florida is 49%. Holy crap. So basically this is, let me see, income includes revenue. Let me see, income, let me see. A statistical measure of distribution intended to represent the income or wealth distribution of a nation. It ranges from 0 to 100%, with 0 represent perfect equality and 1 representing perfect inequality. A higher Gini coefficient means greater inequality. The Gini coefficient will be 0 if everyone in the nation had the same income. So the income inequality, the highest income inequality is in Washington, D.C. Does this surprise anyone? I'm not surprised. Thank you so much for this, Roger. I'm keeping, I am keeping this. And then New York is the second. Connecticut, Louisiana, California, then Florida. Wow. So Florida is winning the top 10 states of the highest wealth income inequality. And we're above Massachusetts. That's crazy. And New Jersey. Wow. So the top 10 states. It's crazy how poor West Virginia is, and it is in the top 10 of the highest wealth income inequality in the nation. These are oh my gosh. This is why we're suffering, man. Who has the least is New Hampshire. New Hampshire has the lowest wealth income inequality, and that's at 43%. Nothing below 40%. Nothing. And it's getting worse. Roger says, scroll down further. Okay. Let me share this really quick. Hang on. Oh, snap. Income inequality by state. So 53%. So the average income of bottom 99% is 61,102. Average income of top 1% is 1.86 million in DC. Wow. New York, the average income of the bottom 99% is 49,000. It's over 49,000. Average income of top 1% in New York is 2.2 million. Let me go to Florida. That's where I live. Average income to bottom 99% is $39,094. Average income of top 1% in Florida is 1.54 million. Top 10% ratio to bottom 90% ratio is 12.37. Wow. If you're in Massachusetts, that's where Sabby lives. Average income of the bottom 99% is $61,000. Top is 1.9 million. Let's go to a state like Kansas, where like Nick lives. 56,000 for average of bottom 99%. For average of top 1% is 1.03 million. So New Hampshire is an average of 62,000. But the top 1% is averaging 1.13 million. This is crazy. And people wonder why. The pitchforks are coming, man. They are coming. So you can scroll down within that. Yeah. Thank you so very much, Roger. Yes, Savvy says it is expensive as hell here. Yeah. And it's getting so much worse here in Florida. It's getting ridiculous. Look, I live basically in the hood, and they're trying to charge $2,000 for a 2-bedroom. Me and my mother busted out laughing because they're literally trying to charge $2,000. You know what's funny? And I don't like to reveal a lot about myself, but my rent is actually more than my disability benefits. My rent is literally more than my disability benefits. So This is why I have a GoFundMe. This is why I have Patreon. This is why I, things like that. This is why. So this is why, people like me are struggling. Savvy says New Hampshire is tricky. A lot of people work in southern New Hampshire, work in Boston. Oh, okay. That's true. You mentioned that on your channel too. Jacqueline says the person making the pitchforks and the guillotines is all set to become the next billionaire. Now we're going to make our own. Oh, wait. JB, they want a lot around here. Oh, they want a lot around here priced at 1.5 million. A lot of land. 1.5 million is laughable. Jacqueline says, I'm charged $492 a month for my 2-bedroom property. If I was renting privately, I'd probably be charged over 1,200 pounds. Wow. Colin says high poverty areas are going to have higher inequality as wealth necessitates poverty. Yeah, exactly, Black Unigriffin. I'm beside myself, man. Because the thing is that a lot of times when people, say all you need to do is pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that to me is just a bunch of bullshit. Because it's like, pull ourselves up by what? You can't pull yourselves up by bootstraps if you ain't got nothing. If you ain't got nothing, then how can you pull yourself up? And the whole bootstrap thing is a farce, because the idea is to pull yourself up off the ground basically by your shoelaces. That is damn near impossible. Damn near impossible. Meanwhile, you got dipshits like Mortimer Buckley. He even sounds like a villain. So I'm going to share with you guys who Mortimer Buckley is. So, God, I love TikTok.
People in the shop, and they were talking about the world's richest men. So they mentioned Elon, Jeff Bezos, and I should have spoken of them, but I didn't. So I just wanted to put this out here. The world's richest, most powerful men are not found on that list because their wealth is hidden in companies. Their wealth runs in the trillions. For instance, Mortimer Buckley, he is the CEO of Vanguard. Larry Fink, he's the CEO of BlackRock. Those two companies own everything. So for the purposes of this video, I'm only going to stick with Vanguard, so Mortimer Buckley. So Vanguard owns all of these, and they own all of these, and all of these, and all of these, and all of these, and all of these. And these are just the top 50. And the reason that you've probably never heard of Mortimer Buckley is...
Let's go back, because I want to read some of these. Okay. So, they own everything.
And they own... So Vanguard owns all of these, and
so, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Google, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway, ExxonMobil,
and they own all of these.
United Health, Meta, which is Facebook, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan Chase, Procter & Gamble, Visa, MasterCard, Home Depot, Chevron,
and all of
Broadcom, AbbVie, Eli Lilly, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Pfizer, Cisco, Costco, Walmart,
These.
McDonald's, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Bank of America, Salesforce. I don't know what that is. Texas Instruments, Abbott, Lindell, Prologis,
And all of these. And all of
Adobe, Nextera, Comcast, Walt Disney, Bristol Myers Squibb, Qualcomm, Danaher, Verizon, Advanced Micro Devices,
these. And
or AMD, you know, the computer people. Verizon, you say, oh, I already said that. Nike, Philip Morris, which is mixed tobacco, UPS, Oracle, American Tower Corp Network, I don't even know what that is, Wells Fargo, Netflix.
all of these. And these are just the top 50.
Yes.
And the reason that you've probably never heard of Mortimer Buckley is because you can't find his name on a list because it's under the business Vanguard. Vanguard owns everything. And whatever they don't own, BlackRock owns. They own everything. All of the food that you eat, all of the media that you consume.
Just to answer Colin, it's they own pieces. Sometimes they'll own like large chunks of every company. So that's how, and then you'll have them that own a chunk, like Vanguard will own a chunk of the same company as BlackRock. So let's say 17% of Walt Disney Company is owned. Hang on, let me put this bigger. So it's like if Vanguard owns 17% of Disney, well, then BlackRock will own another 17%. So a third of Disney is owned by just those two companies. And then let's say State Street owns like another 15%. So then you're getting into half the ownership of these major companies, of this major corporation is owned by these three. But the thing is that they own these pieces of everything. And so they're basically, yeah. So basically that's how it is, right? So thank you for asking that question, because that also gives a little bit more of a deeper scope, a more nuanced scope. But thank you for asking that question, Colin. But that's how it is. A lot of people don't realize it. This is it's sick. It's very sick how much wealth that they hoard.
Media that you consume, everything. And even though Vanguard is technically owned by the shareholders, the ultimate decision maker is Mortimer Buckley, which means he is sitting on trillions of dollars. He's the one making decisions, which, by the way, I admire that. I can't.
I'll let her explain why. But the thing is that people like Mortimer Buckley and Larry Fink are some of the most dangerous people in the world. I'm going to repeat myself. People like Mortimer Buckley and Larry Fink are some of the most dangerous people in the world. And you don't even, some of y'all never even heard these names before. And people will be like, oh my God, but what about JP Morgan? What about the Vanderbilts? And what about the Rockefellers? Yeah. They're also part of it. But some of these people that you don't even know their name until it's said on this program, y'all never heard of them. And y'all finding out that these are some of the people that are making your lives as shitty as they are right now. Like I said, it's not your fault, but it's definitely theirs. Savvy says Larry Fink is worse than Elon and Bezos. Thank you. Wise words from Savvy. If you don't trust me, trust Savvy. They are worse. All right, let's continue.
Imagine the stress that testicles, knowing that literally everything in the world relies on you, relies on the choices that you make, the investments, the good sense about you. Like it's, but number one, it's pretty fucking terrifying that everything is owned by two companies. And number two, it's equally as terrifying that those two names aren't household names. Like we talk about Elon, but Vanguard actually they own the majority of Tesla. And I just think it's weird. That's all.
When you're a trillionaire, you can own billionaires. A trillion is 1,000 billion. That's how big it is. A million seconds is 11 days. A billion seconds is 33 years. So how much is a trillion seconds? When you think about people like this, you come to realize these are some of the most immoral people I have ever heard of. Mizu says Sachs is 30s oligarchy, while BlackRock and Vanguard are new oligarchy. Thank you very much for that. Says Mizu says BlackRock was established in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. Savvy Sav says this is why I keep telling people there's no ethical consumption. Yes. And also, here's my point. And thank you, Savvy, for reminding me. When you own everything, that means you own everyone. When you own everything, you own everyone. Do you want to be owned? I don't want to be owned. So, yeah. But yes, that's what's going on. And as you guys are watching, just want to remind you guys, this is why those of us at RBN try to do mutual aid. If you have not, we're going to be organizing this weekend at 9:45 a.m. Be there at Lake Eola Park, because we're going to be doing mutual aid care package giveaway to our homeless neighbors, because it is not their fault that they have to suffer. But we're going to do what we can to mitigate their suffering by giving away care packages. So we're going to be at the corner of East Robinson and North Eola Drive at 9:45 a.m. And if you have a tote bag to bring to carry some of these care packages so we can give them out, then bring a tote bag if you possibly can. We'll be doing that because the work is so important. Because people are suffering, man. And even though I'm going through it, I know there's people that are going through worse. And I want to make sure that I at least help somebody that's going through worse than what I'm going through. I'm going through some shit, yes. Like, I just literally had to give my mother a few dollars out of my money that I got from doing this channel so that we can afford dinner. So we can afford something to eat. So I know what it's like. And anybody that gives me any types of tips on Rockfin or any super chats, thank you so very much. Or if you're a patron on Patreon, thank you so very much. Shout out to all the patrons on Patreon. For without you guys, I would not be able to do this. For without you guys, I would be in a much worse situation. So thank you so very much. Just to share with you guys, if you guys have not If you guys are patrons on Patreon, thank you so very much. But just to give you guys the tiers as well, if you guys have not seen, I have JB members for the lowest cost, which is $1 a month. So you guys can, as little as $1 a month. I have Solidarity, Comrade, Jaybefaunters, Super Jaybefaunters, Super Duper Jaybefaunters, and Mega Jaybefaunters are the tiers. And with tiers $5 and above, you guys also get free merch after 3 months of being a member as well. And also, I also have a merch store that's below as well. So thank you so very much to anybody that gives me any type of assistance at all in supporting this channel. So thank you. So thank you so very much to Roger Meadows. He says, don't care which pitchforks you use as long as they're made in America by worker co-ops. Roger, don't make me laugh. I'm trying to be serious, Roger. Damn it. Wait. These pitchforks were made in Minnesota by a full union worker co-op. These torches were fire ready and made in St. Paul. That would be hilarious. Big old made in St. Paul logo, or big, or look, made in Mineola, Florida. Oh my gosh. Colin says, in the Adrianax, mostly rural area is mostly poor service workers and farmers, then a tiny number of New York City millionaires with second, third homes, Airbnb. There's an estate up there sold for $5.4 million. Also, just to let you know, in the Adrianax, that's also where people like Justice Clarence Thomas go on vacation, paid for by billionaire Harlan Crow. I actually talked about that a couple months back. We're talking about Harlan Crow, how he's bankrolling one of our Supreme Court justices, and it's really an ethics violation within our government. So basically, our Supreme Court is actually bought and paid for by billionaires as well. So you guys can go ahead and look that up also on my channel. But I talked about that too. So thank you so very much for reminding me of that, Colin, about, you know, the Adrianax. But yes, yeah, our courts are actually bought and paid for too. Wadi says, stop with the conflation of people's backgrounds and their particular politics or ideology. Judge people on their own merits, please. What do you mean? Because the thing is that a lot of times people, I think I see what you mean. Yeah, because the thing is that people are, you know, we have to focus on like uniting with one another. I think I see what you mean. But thank you. So, yes. Let me check Rockfin before I head out because I didn't want to make this too long. Okay, so let me go here. By the way, it's going to be a good stream on RBN tonight with the Sabby and JB show. If you guys have not, we're going to be talking to Midwestern Marks. We're going to be debunking some stuff, so that'll be great. So thank you for the tip on Rockfin Roger. He says, the Vanguard Group Incorporate, commonly known as simply Vanguard, is an American registered investment advisor based in Malvern, Pennsylvania, with about $7.7 trillion in global assets under management as of April 2023. It is the largest provider of mutual funds and the second largest provider of exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, in the world after BlackRock's iShares. In addition to mutual funds and ETFs, Vanguard offers brokerage services, educational account services, financial planning, asset management, and trust services. Several mutual funds managed by Vanguard are ranked at the top of the list of U.S. mutual funds by assets under management. Along with BlackRock and State Street, Vanguard is considered to be one of the big three index fund managers that play a dominant role in corporate America. He might be writing more. I'm not sure. But thank you so very much for that, Roger. Appreciate it. I'll check back again before I go. But thank you. So yes, this is why it's important that we pay attention and try to unite with basically our human family against these people. And I found this. I want to share this as well. This might help some people because this also helps people with housing. If you want to try to buy a house and if you are, don't have much, I saw this as well. And I'm going to share this too, because I saw this and I was just like, holy crap, this might help a lot of people. So it says, stitching coming. I'm going to tell you how to buy a house with the cheapest way possible. So, by the way, just letting you guys know, I am not in any way, shape, or form a realtor. So take all this with a grain of salt. Do your research as well. But if this can also help you so that you don't have to rely on landlords, then I say do it. If you can. But just caution, there could be scammers out there. So do your research. Please do your due diligence. But let me share this. All right. So let's go.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I will never be able to.
I'm going to tell you how to buy a house, and I'm going to tell you how to do it the cheapest way possible so you have to spend the least amount of your own money. I'm Lindsay. My partner and I are both teachers, and actually, I'm unemployed right now. We do not make a lot of money. We are about to close on our house. Before I dive into my tips, I'm going to let you all know that I hate that housing is not a guaranteed right. It is disgusting. I hate that. I hate landlords. I hate them. I hate that I have to make this video, but I'm going to because I want to help. So this is what we did. Number one, you're going to look for a grant funded program that's going to help you with your down payment assistance. A lot of these require a certain amount of like income requirements, like you have to make below the certain amount. I think ours was like 80. Yeah, we don't make that. So we qualified. And this video is not for people that aren't going to qualify for that. Your lender can tell you about certain options. You can also do some research online. We were told about ours through our lender, and this grant was used between 4 different states. So typically they open up in March and they usually run out of money by the summer. We were able to secure some, but not all that we needed just because it was so late. So after you have secured grant funding, which you can find out again through your lender, you are going to look for a house that has been on the market for a while. I was looking at houses that had been on the market for 30 days or more. And the reason why I did this is because I want the seller to pay for my closing cost, or at least most of it, because who has the money to pay for a down payment and closing cost? We know that this is a buyer's market. So if you're looking at a house that just listed, they're not going to pay for that. They're not going to do anything. You're going to have to go above asking cost. But with the houses that have been on the market, you get to go below and you get to ask for things. I know this is not ideal, and it was not ideal for me either, but we ended up finding a place that we do like. It just needs a couple things that we can do later on when we probably will have more money. So now you have your grant funding and you're going to have some money from the seller. And if the seller agrees to some, but not all, you can also up the sale of the house. Like you can pay more on your mortgage and more that you borrow. So then you can get help during closing. And if the house has been on the market for a while, they're probably going to be more likely to agree to these terms. And that way you don't have to bring as much to closing. With that being said, you'll probably still have to bring some money to closing, but it will not be the outrageous amounts that you think that originally you were going to, because who has money for that? There is no way we'd have money to pay all of this, even all of our closing costs. This is such a frustrating, daunting process that I wish that we did not have to do. And it is unfair, but I hope that these tips and things that I've done kind of can help some people out.
So if you can get a grant for down payment for a house, if you can do something like that, then by all means do it. I don't know, exactly where you can go, But if you can get a grant for that and then use it in that way, then by all means. Let me share that link also for you guys as well. Make sure I got the right one. Hang on. Is this the right one? No. I think it's this one. Okay. So I'm going to put that link in the description just so that you guys can take notes. So you guys can, you know, because there's some programs. I think Sabby would know more about this than I do because Sabby owns a home. I don't own a home, and she got some assistance with it. Let me start that. And then Norman says here in Denmark, half live in housing associations. We cannot buy. It is not for sale, owned collectively. Interesting. Wow. All right. So thank you so very much for that. Thanks again. I checked Rockfin. Thank you so very much, Roger. And let me answer a couple of chats before I head out. See, Jacqueline says, do tenants have the right to buy their Section 8 housing after a certain period in the U.S.? I don't think so, but don't quote me on it. But I don't think so. It's basically perpetual. Like, and the thing about Section 8 housing is that a lot of times they'll pay part of your rent for you, which means that as a landlord, that's guaranteed money. And it's like, if you have that constant income, they don't want to sell. There may be like a rent to own program, but a lot of those sometimes are kind of scamish. So yeah. And the thing is that you have to report your income. And if your income goes above a certain level, you get taken out of that program. And so then if you get taken out of that program, then you don't have enough money to pay rent and save money for down payments and things like that for houses. So it's like, if you have enough money to save for a down payment, then why should we help you? That's basically how the system works. And so unless there's some type of program, which they have, which I'm not aware of, it keeps you stuck. So that's how they work, unfortunately. Mizu says, JB, will you learn another language? If I have the bandwidth, it's kind of hard. It's difficult for me right now. A lot of my time is taken up from doing RBN, my channel, dialysis. And so right now, even though it would be a definite benefit to me, I would definitely like to learn Spanish because I have so many Spanish speakers around, you know, in my neighborhood, in the area. I'm friends with Spanish speakers because I would love to be able to travel to Cuba just to be able to experience it and, you know, go to Cuba. But yeah, I would love to be able to learn that, but I don't have the bandwidth at the moment, and I'm being stretched as far as I can right now. But I would like to. But if you have the opportunity to, and if you can, I encourage anybody to learn a second language or more, if you can, because the thing is that, you know, connect with all of our brothers, sisters, and siblings around the world. Do what you can, and language is a great way to do it. Just to encourage you. Okay, Roger. Okay. All right. You know how when somebody says something, you remind them of something? That's probably what happened with me and Roger. But let me go here. All right. So, Rogers, thank you so much for the tip. He says, bruh, the fruit is ripe and the buds have grown to maturity. Where are the CBI amendments to make it unconstitutional in California, Colorado, Arkansas, Arizona, Nebraska, the Dakotas, both North and South, Missouri, Nick, that's your state, Montana, Oklahoma, Oregon, Massachusetts, Nevada, Ohio, Illinois, Florida, Michigan. I can't believe I'm actually able to say all those. Wow. My brain's actually working today. For private equity and investment groups from owning housing. Yes, I think it should be illegal for private equity to own housing thank you so very much for that, Roger. Keep that in mind, everybody. Serena says in high school, Java counted as a second language. Thank you so very much. All right. I appreciate it. Lou says, Jaybefaunt, this may sound strange, but Latin and classical Greek are good choices too because of the focus on rhetoric. Thank you. Thank you so very much for that. So, guys, I'm going to head out because it's almost 2 hours and I went actually over my time that I actually wanted to. But please make sure to share this information that is coming out in Orange County, California, so that people are aware of this housing voucher that is now in effect. And you have until the 29th of September to apply for this. I'm going to put in the article in the chat, as well as I'm going to put in the application link in the chat too, so that you guys can apply. Or if you know somebody that is housing insecure, to apply for this housing voucher so that you guys can help your fellow neighbors out there. Killia Grigors, you said you live in Orange County. Share this. I don't care if you don't know people. It may get in touch with somebody who may know somebody who knows somebody. All right. Share it widely so that people can have that application. And I'm going to share the screen for just the application to get started, because I don't live out here, but I'm going to make sure other people who are suffering and housing insecure. So it's waitchecklist.com/CA1288. Right. So here you go. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it goes to the blue. It says get started. All right. So get to there, get it done quickly so that you guys can have that housing assistance, something in order to help you out. Love all my fellow people out there, man. Y'all stay safe and stay up. So thank you so very much. Let me see. Lou says, again, it is striking that it comes in Orange County and not San Francisco. Yeah. So try to get it as much as you possibly can. If you guys have not, then you guys can go to my Substack to get email notifications, jaybefaunt.substack.com for the email notifications. Thank you so very much. On the way out, please make sure to give me a like from the stream. If you guys would like to, you guys like to get some merch, I also have a merch store. If you guys would like to, it actually is linked on the bottom below. If you guys can look, it says store, so you guys can do that. Thank you to all the new patrons on Patreon that I have not seen yet as well. So thank you so very much for that too. Also, if you guys have not, then you guys can become patrons of Patreon if you guys would like to support the channel. Now, hopefully I will get in contact with Claudia de la Cruz's campaign soon so that we can actually reschedule somehow so that we can have this conversation. I can ask the questions that I need to ask for this presidential campaign. And so I am going to try to lighten the mood a little bit, because I don't want people to walk away depressed. I want us to be hopeful of what's going on. So I have a video that I can share. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, I shared it before and it was funny, but I want to share it again because it's still hilarious, and why not, right? So I'm gonna share this. Sabby, if you're watching, you're gonna laugh because this is hilarious too. Hip hop turned 50, and somebody decided that they were going to do a parody of Kamala Harris. It's always hilarious. Kamala hilarious. That's what we're going to do. We're going to end with this. And I absolutely love this. This is hilarious. So people, like I say, always look, water your plants, Water yourselves. Leave the world better than you found it. Smoke them if you got them, drink them if you got them. If you got them, then watch something funny like this, because joy is revolutionary. And realize, like it said in Dr. Devon Price's book, Laziness Does Not Exist, learn to celebrate your victories, celebrate other people's victories, learn to savor the moments in life, that great cup of tea, those beautiful stars in the sky, those clouds, that beautiful voice that you hear when you're listening to music, or the sound of children laughing, or just tell somebody how much you love them and how much they make you feel good in your heart, and be thankful and grateful for the life that you live. Mwah! Forehead kisses to every single one of you. Support independent media and support the workers and the people around you. And remember, mutual aid is the best aid. Love you very much. Have a great one, everybody. Take care and be square.
Oh, damn. I'm Kamala. Okay. Happy 50th birthday to hip hop. When people think of me, okay, they think hip hop. I grew up in Oakland. I'm wearing this shirt. I scream hip hop. Hip hop. So yeah, I'm into hip hop. I want to give it up, okay, to all the greats. So Missy, TLC, ODB, DMX, okay, ABC, and LGBT, okay, Q, Lil Nas X. Giving it up. We here at the residence. It's lit. That's a word I have said before. Wise. Okay, man once said, to the window, to the wall, okay, to the sweat, drop down my balls. Skeet, skeet, motherfucker. Skeet, skeet, goddamn. Those words are poetry, okay? I mean, it rhymes. So technically, that's poems. Happy birthday, hip hop. Kamala out. Hey, ho.